What's up? What's up? What's up, people? It's your girl La, and welcome to another episode of Whatever You Say. If you're tuned in, that must mean that one, you're curious, two, you're open minded, and you're ready to learn something new. This is a space for open perspective, deep conversation, and for educating the race. So, buckle up and let's go on this journey together because it's whatever you say. It's whatever you say. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Whatever You Say. We have a special guest today, and this show is called The Journey Within. I know some of you have been waiting for this show to come up, and I see some viewers coming in right now. So let's set the mood, and you already know what time it is. What time is it? It's time to go on that Facebook page or that YouTube page and share to a friend that knows a friend. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm becoming a little pro at this right now. I used to always mess up, but we get better with time, don't we? And as I said before, I'm always looking for an assistant, preferably someone younger with a lot of zeal, because some of us we be stuck in our ways, honey. But that's another story. So I am sharing this link right now to my actual page. And like I said, share the YouTube link or the Facebook link. So the Facebook page is Whatever You Say Podcast. And also it is the YouTube page. So I'm going to put We're Live. All right. And just a little tidbit, you can add followers on your Facebook. So then that way you can get more people to view. It'll share it to all your followers. So that's a little tidbit for you guys. And just know if you missed the show, you can always come back for sure and watch it again. It will be on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple after tonight. Okay. So we are live. We are live. We are live. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Without further ado, I have to introduce my special guest today, all the way from California. I know where she lives is 4 p.m. Where we are is 7. So it's just beautiful how we connected through the internet. I feel like social media is such a beautiful platform for us to have because we get to meet like-minded people, especially a woman of her magnitude that could tell you more about her story. I don't want to give out her story for her. You read some of it in the description, but without further ado, let's introduce our guest into the room. Hey, beautiful, how are you? Hold on. There she go. How are you today?
I'm doing great, beautiful. How are you?
Great. And that's a compliment coming from you because listen, y'all follow her. Look at her right now and follow her on her page. She is not catfishing, okay? She does not catfish.
Thank you.
It's nice to know, like when you have people on your show, they match up to what you see on their page, honey.
Yes.
But I'm gonna give you the stage and you let the people know who you are, where you're from, and what you're about.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here live with you all today. And even if you're catching the replay, just happy to connect. So grateful for this opportunity. And a little bit about me. My name is Dejanique Castro. I know when you see it up there on the screen, it's kind of hard to pronounce for some people, but it's pronounced Dejanique. And I usually go by Mona, my middle name. So whichever one you want to call me, that's fine. And I'm from California originally. I've lived a lot of places, been to different countries, been to different states and things like that. And I am very happy to still be a California girl. I love my people, always repping my people in Cali. But I have been in entrepreneurship full time now, going on 5 years. We're going to dive in so much deeper into my journey. And it definitely was something that I always wanted to do. And it was always a thought and a passion of mine. And of course, life happens, right? We go through things and it seemed like it was taking a really long time to get to it to actually start. But in the midst of that time frame, I've learned that it actually was building me up the whole time for this journey. So when we dive more into the questions here and I go over everything, you guys will be able to learn, through my lens, how to get into entrepreneurship a lot more grounded within yourself and really be able to build that dream out and have a clearer vision from all of my failures. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys all here soon.
Look, I look forward to see you on TED Talk, because that was a beautiful intro.
Thank you.
I'm still working on mine. Like I was thank you for tuning in today. I was taking my time.
Oh, yours was great. I love it.
I'm working on it. I got me a speech therapist. She's helping me. I dealt with a lot of social anxiety, and performance anxiety. So that's something that I'm pushing to strive forward with, especially with a platform like this. And it's nice when I have people on the show that I can flow and speak to. So I'm excited about tonight. So how about we get into the questions? Why don't we?
Okay, let's do it.
Can you share a bit about your background and what led you to become a serial entrepreneur?
Okay, so I love this one because there's so much depth behind how I got here in this journey. And ultimately, as a little girl, I always loved solving problems. I feel like that was something that I had to know how to do because of my environment. And there weren't a lot of things that were accessible to me. And so if I really wanted something, I had to figure out the solution. And I feel like that actually gave me a lot of grit early on for this kind of career to have, because as a business owner, you do have to solve problems. And I always tell people that I coach, you can't be a paid problem finder. You got to be a paid problem solutioner, right? You got to be able to not only fix the problem for yourself, but for other people, and give that great listening ear. And give that solution that can help every single person experience the win at the same time. So what ultimately led me to it was, having lack of resources, not having many things. I was raised by my grandparents, and, there were a lot of times where like, we don't have money for this, or we can't do this. And so I had to learn how to figure that out for myself. And so for me, really early on, I remember when I was like in elementary school, my friend's mom had a donut shop. And so she always gave us these donuts, like extra donuts that they had. And so I would go and I'd go sell them, right? I'm like, I need some new shoes. I'm going to go sell these donuts. I need this. I'm going to go sell these donuts. And so I figured out that, there was a market there. People at school wanted more food and snacks. Somebody was able to give me the inventory. I'm grateful for free. And I was able to make profit from this. So I went ahead, I sold those donuts, and I got those shoes when I wanted to get them, where I got what I needed. And so I'm grateful in a sense that, yeah, we maybe didn't have it. And my grandmother raised us to be very independent, me and my aunt, like, go to school, get your education. If you want something, make sure you work for it, all those things. And so it ultimately taught me as an adult that if you're going to want something, you're going to put in the work for it, right? And you're going to use what's around you. And I feel like sometimes people think they're so limited, and we're really not. Like you really just got to say, okay, this is what I have. What can I create with it? Right. And just expand your mind. So that ultimately led me in my adult life that I loved being able to help people, and I loved being able to get what I wanted to get from doing it too. If I can genuinely help someone with their problem, I was able to solve mine. And so I just grew this passion for entrepreneurship that, I want to be in that space where I can figure out something to people's problems. They can help me figure out mine. We work together. Boom, we got something.
I love that. And it's funny, like you said, you work with what you have. You work with the donuts.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I had a guest on my show before, and she was like, her thing was the candy. They would buy the candy and just sell it. Would buy the candy. And it's amazing hearing, it's like you were born to do this.
Yep.
Placed in your lap. What's giving you the mindset to just, okay, I want to sell this because I want to buy something. And that's, you were already an entrepreneur at that moment. Like, it's just like you were born.
Yeah.
I love the story. We have Darrell Fantroy saying, God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. We got Eric saying, I love your smile and glow. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Keep the comments coming if you are viewing tonight. What inspired you to leave your 9 to 5 job at such a young age?
Ooh, now this is a really great question because I know there's a lot of people out there that are listening that probably want to do this, that want to leave that 9 to 5 world, and they probably don't know where to start, or they have so much fear about it. And then there's probably some people who have left it, but they're still figuring things out, right?
Mhm.
And as I shared with you guys before, I'm now going on 5 years of being able to work fully for myself. I had quit my 9 to 5 when I was 25, and I'm now 28 years old. And I must say, I'm very aware of things that happen around me, and sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to act on some things, and I feel like I knew that it wasn't necessarily for me because of my attitude, the way that I perceive things. Like, I was a person that, you know, I just went into everything and I was like, I'm just gonna be happy all the time. It doesn't matter. Whatever's going on, I'm gonna be happy. I would go to work with my big old smile and be excited, be ecstatic. Even if things were going wrong in my life, I just showed up in that way. Like, you know what? I just want to be a light wherever I'm at.
Mm.
And being in that kind of energy, sometimes you go into workspaces where everyone doesn't necessarily feel that way. And I know
Right.
you guys can resonate with me out there. Sometimes we have those coworkers that are just, they hate life. They're not happy. Or sometimes you have those managers that hate their jobs. They're not happy, right? And there's a lot of projection that sometimes goes on. And I feel like that can dampen your energy a lot. And so I always used to go into my 9 to 5s with this mindset. This is not going to be my end all be all. This is not the end for me. This is something that's going to be a stepping stool, to help me get to the next place that I want to be. And ultimately, for me, that was fashion. I like to design clothes, style clothes. And that was also something I did when I was a little girl, too. I used to like put together stuff and sell things to people that way. And so I was like, I'm going to have my own clothing store. I'm going to design a clothing label. I'm going to have this. And so all of these jobs that I do right now, that's what's going to be able to help me fund this business, fund this idea, get it going. And so I'm going to be grateful that I have something that's pouring back into me, that I can pour into, that can ultimately get me to the next level. And so I always just went into my jobs with this, this passion. Like, hey, this is not it for me. And people would look at me like I was crazy. People that I worked with were like, this girl is tripping out. We don't know what you're drinking or what you're on, but this happy pill, some people went for it. Some people didn't like it. Some people thought, this is just a facade. Some people didn't. And I'm a firm believer that your thoughts, what you say, what you think, everything that you do, you're always creating your reality. And so if you really want a better one, you might as well start creating some Delulu that's magical. And so I was working at this clothing store. I was working at a clothing store. Well, shoes to be exact. It was primarily shoes. And I used to have to go to the back and stock these shoes up. And so I was real Delulu. I was like, I'm imagining myself right now being at my own clothing store and me stocking shoes, and I would like just create a totally different reality. And then when I talked to people, when I was helping them, I would talk to them how I would want someone to talk to me if it was my store, and how I want my people that work for me to be speaking to people.
Wow.
And so I remember I used to have customers that would come in. It was so crazy. They would come in and they would be like, we want to take a picture with you, because I was in Hawaii at the time. So, international, there's different people. And people always like, we want to take a picture with you. And they'll start talking to me. And I used to tell people, like, I'm going to be on Forbes someday. I'm going to have a Forbes someday. You're going to, like, I was creating that. I was really creating it. And it was always funny when people would want to take pictures with me, because they would be like, we know we're going to see you someday. We know it. So ultimately, I got to a point where, okay, I'm doing this for so long. And there were times where sometimes my managers or my bosses would be mean to me, or my coworkers would be mean to me, because I was just a little bit too happy about life. I had a plan to get out. And sometimes when people don't have one for themselves, it can come out one of two ways. It could be admiration of hate, or it could be admiration of inspiration. And I always say, when I see people who are where I want to be, or living fully in their purpose, and they're so happy, what comes to my mind is, man, I haven't made it yet until I achieve that type of freedom and success in my life. So I grow inspiration inside of me.
Right.
I dislike this person. I'm like, I'm inspired.
Right.
So unfortunately, for me, I had a few people in the workspace that were like that. And at this time, it was my boss. And it was very interesting, because it was like he had a love for me, but then he also had like kind of a little bit of a hate for me. I could feel it. I can tell by the direction he was giving me. So one day he asked me to go on a date, which that kind of threw me off. I thought you didn't like me. And then, you know, some days you do. It was kind of weird. So he asked me out on a date and I said no. And the reason why I said no is because as a woman, I feel like don't give people attention that you really don't want to give them. And
Right.
try to make a power play or a power move that you really don't want to live into. And I don't want to give anyone a false hope, right? I'm still manifesting the love of my life while I'm being here too. So I have to be mindful of how I interact with people.
That part.
I
Mm-hmm.
kindly said, you know, I'm not interested. It's, you know, I appreciate you for the invite, but I'm not interested. You know, I didn't want to lead you on to something because I'm not interested in that way. I'm here as your team player. We're gonna work. We're gonna solve problems. We're gonna do what we do as a team player. You know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He didn't like that answer. And so I was harassed, unfortunately, like really bad. You know, he was messing up my sales. He was messing up my schedule. He was talking about me to other people that worked there. And so I did report it to HR. I didn't want to be that person, but I also had to stand up for myself and my rights as a woman, because now you're making me uncomfortable even more. I know I'm going to be out of here, but I can't be so uncomfortable like this, you know? And so I went to HR. All they did was move me to another store, but it continued. It kept going on. It kept going on. And so I was like, you know what, God, you're putting me through this for a reason. I know you're testing me because you've been testing me this whole time on my faith since I've been here.
Girl.
I'm showing you that I want this, and I'm going to keep showing you that I want this, but also guide me. I literally got chills retelling this story, because when you retell it, you relive it. I'm like, man, I was so young. I was so young.
Nostalgic.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what, God, just guide me through this, because I recently had just left a very, very bad relationship. I had just gone through a divorce, you know, and I already kind of went through something similar where I wasn't really being treated right by the masculine that was in my life. So it was just like a repeat, but a different face.
Ooh,
okay. My learning this time, right? And so he kept harassing me. HR is at the point they're not doing nothing. And I said, okay, I'm already so close to being out. So I'm just going to allow myself to lead with grace in all the ways that I can. And I'll know when it's time to make that pivot. So one day I get a text from him. It's on my day off. I get a text from him, and it was very rude. It was very rude. He was talking a lot of mess to me, you know, and I said, honestly, I said, F you. I said, F you. I'm done. I'm bringing my key tomorrow. I won't be coming back. And I didn't have a plan. I had a beauty business that I was doing at that time, but it wasn't fully founded, you guys. There wasn't a solid foundation there. And so I said, I quit. I bring my key, and I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. I've been doing this for so long. It really isn't for me. I don't have a plan, but I'm gonna trust God in this moment. So when I quit, I went and brought in my key, and I remember going to a stone shop. I really love stones. And I went to this stone shop, and I got a stone called citrine. It's like a business stone. It grounds you. And it was like the most expensive one in the store. Here I am, like, don't really got money like that, and to quit my job. You know, it was a good job. I was a manager and different things. But on the outside perspective, my family, my friends, everyone would have said, you're crazy. You had a management position, you have 401k, you have benefits, you know, why would you just quit like that? And that was where I had to really pick my self-respect for me, but also my peace. And I also had to realize my worth. I could see the amount of sales that I was making for them. I could see my work ethic. I could see how my customers appreciated me and what I could do. So if I have this big dream, why am I not building it?
Right.
So I bought that stone, and I said, you know, I'm just going to trust in the journey, and I never went back. That was my last job.
Wow. And it's funny because you had these high sales for this company, and you can have high sales for yourself.
Yep.
So a lot of times we put so much energy and effort into other people's companies, and we don't put the same into our own business.
Yep.
So people, please, if you're out there, take notes. The same energy you're putting out for someone else's business, you can put in for yourself, and try to use the things that are around you, work with what's around you. Sometimes we feel like we need all these things to be ready, and we really don't. Like we don't understand sometimes we have what we need in the time that we have it. And then eventually we will build and grow from that.
Right.
Got some comments coming in. Shanier Clayton says, trusting in the process. And we have Wayne, he was saying 100. When you say you had to walk away from that situation, Eric said, that's right. Don't let anyone diminish your light. Yes. And then Shanier says, be your brand first.
Thank you guys. I'm loving this.
Thank you for the support, guys. Thank you for pouring in with the comments. We are not done yet, and but if you have, we're not done yet. We're gonna keep going. How did you navigate the challenges and uncertainties of starting your own business?
Okay, so this is where I say again, you got to reinforce you're here to solve the problem and not find it. And as a business owner, your whole career is there's a problem and you're fixing it. And so you got to come in knowing that. And sometimes I think that, and I even thought this myself, you think like you're going to go into business right away, make millions of dollars and boom, boom, boom. And it's going to happen like overnight and all this stuff. And let's face it, the real reality is there's going to be some things that you don't have that can make it take off that way. And sometimes you got to be grateful if you don't have all those things. Like, for example, if you didn't have like a lot of money to go ahead and start up and put all these things to make the business even a little bit more better, that means you have a little bit more growing and time and effort to put into it to get to that point for it. But there's going to be such a great learning process through that, because sometimes when things take off right away for you and you haven't experienced any type of, let's say, downfall or issue or problem, and then you don't know how to deal with it later on or in that moment, sometimes things crumble for that pace. I hope you guys are picking up what I'm laying down here. So what happened for me in the beginning of my businesses is I didn't have all the support that I thought I was going to have. Right? Not everyone was as interested in it as I thought they would have been. And so that brought a issue, right? That brought a problem with me not having the sales that I wanted to have. So if I don't have the sales that I want to have, what else is going to be in the line of that? My bills aren't going to be paid, right? I'm not going to be able to get the things that I need. There's going to be certain things in my life that I can't withstand and withhold. And so it taught me how to understand that getting customers, because I was for one, I was working in a clothing store, right? And I was in person with people interaction. So my sales are a lot different because I'm interacting with people in person. But what happens when you get online and your business is completely online, and now you don't have that same space to connect with people, and you're like, man, people are just not buying my stuff. I'm posting it, I'm doing this, And so I was noticing that stagnation there, and I said, this is a problem, right? And I have to figure out, hello, beautiful. I have to figure out a solution to this. And the problem is when you're switching to online and then you now can't interact with people how you would in person, how do you interact with them online authentically for them to be able to trust you and know that you're a real human being on the other side of the screen?
Yes,
and also have this need for them. Right. And so that grew a new skill set that I had to develop for my business. And I'm glad to say now I know how to do that. Right. But that problem, that uncertainty, people didn't know who I was. I'm just a new person that's popping out on the internet and says, I got this. I'm no big brand. I'm no big mogul or anything like that. So they're like, okay, girl, we just going to go to the next person that we know. We don't know you. Right. And so it really taught me how to show up as myself and authentically be me.
Right.
And that's what ultimately brought the people who were for me. And that's what you do want in business. You want the people that are going to attract to your brand and who you are for you and what you have. And they genuinely connect with it because it goes so much smoother. So I felt like just keeping that mindset of knowing that every problem that arises doesn't mean that the business is unvaluable or it's a failure or anything like that. It's more so just put yourself in that position and now look from a different lens. And what would you want to see to make you buy something? What would you want to see to make you trust something? That emotional intelligence, right? It's key in business. And so when you tie that in, and also with the personal development, because as a business owner, you have to do personal development. You got to work on yourself internally so much, because how you feel is what your business reflects back to you. The type of customers you get, the type of people who come on your team and work for you, the way you show up, everything, it's all based on the energy of yourself, how you feel, right? Because sometimes you can sabotage your own business without even realizing it because of how you feel about something, right? And so I had to learn that personal development was going to have to be a lifestyle, right? This is going to have to be something I do every single day, me grounding myself, right? And being able to reflect that into the work that I do, what I'm creating, and people can feel that energy. So navigating through challenges, really don't look at things as a problem. Look at it as, okay, this is going to help me have a better skill set. So when the next time this arises, it's a breeze for me. It's nothing for me. So when I meet people and they're like, I'm not getting customers, and they're freaked out, I'm like, oh, don't worry, they're coming. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, this is the skill set you're going to learn right now, and this is what's going to bring them. And so personal development, emotional intelligence, grounding yourself and looking at it as this challenge is not a challenge. This is more of something that's about to teach me something that's going to make me better. And it's going to make me better, which is going to make my business better.
I love that. And that aligns with, I feel like it's confirmation coming to me, because now at this time in my life, like I'm writing a memoir this year, right? And on certain, thank you. And then like on certain pages, I'll put, what have I learned today? What did I learn from this? Because anything that comes to our life, it should be a learned lesson, or we're going to constantly be in rotation, and what they call it, insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Like, it's insane at this point. Like, what did you learn? How can you better that situation? Like, yes, I understand that you're frustrated, but how can we not be frustrated anymore? What approach are you taking? What advice can you seek? Who can you go? They always say, if you're going to copy a cat, copy the right cat. Go online, see how some of these people are running their businesses and what's causing them to be successful. Might not do the same thing they're doing, but look at their blueprint and how they're moving to determine how you're going to move successfully in your business. So I do appreciate you saying that, because there are a lot of people, such as myself also, that needs to hear that, to be reminded of that as well. It's like, it's not a problem. It's a ways to find solutions.
Yep.
Well, anytime you come across it, document it. Document what you went through and how you got out of it. Like, yes, this is what's okay. I need this done. And sometimes things will just fall in your lap. I see how God just like, I need this. And then it comes to me, or I'm introduced to someone and I'm like, oh, you were the missing puzzle that I needed. I was asking for this. What? I'm like living in my purpose. It's coming to me. So now my faith is growing stronger. I'm like, there's no sweat on my back. I'm about to get the answer real soon. I'm gonna go look for the answer.
I love that.
Come my way. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. That was something that needed to be said, because a lot of us are going through it and we just don't say it. And we just walk around still being frustrated. And it's like, come on, there's always an answer to a question.
Yes. Every time.
Nothing's new under the sun. The things that we went through, people have gone through it before. Check the grades.
Oh, yep.
It's been a breeze for them. They can tell you all the things that, read their books. They can tell you everything they've been through. Have they gotten out of those situations? So we have Shania saying, I'm now grateful for every relationship / situation, past or present. That's great. And we got Jenny Adams that says, hey, New York in the house. Shout out to New York. Thank you for chiming in, Jenny. We got you're a new viewer, because it's my first time. Thank you. Wayne is saying, yes, I need to hear this as well. Real talk. I've been waiting for answers, but I think I need to go find the answers. It's hard. It can be hard, but I'm going to let you answer this, Queen. Go ahead. In regards to what he's saying.
This one, I love that you said that, Wayne. I love that. And I also want to kind of piggyback to the last comment too. She said, I'm grateful for every relationship, whether, past or present, whether it failed or it didn't, because business is all about relationships too. Yes, the relationship with yourself and all the people around you, right? And so you do have to be grateful for the ones that also didn't work out, because as long as you learn something from it, and now when you come into that next chapter and you have to go through that experience again, you should have way more wisdom that can ground you to handle the situation so much better this time. And that's why you go through it. And you'll notice that you haven't passed that test if you do keep experiencing the same relationship with different faces. That's all it's saying to you. So I love that you said that. It's so much gratitude in that. I'm grateful for my divorce. I'm grateful for that relationship. It taught me so much. So my next marriage, I always say, it's my last. It's going to be my last, because now I know better, right? It taught me what I needed to know.
Shout out to my future husband.
Yes. Future husband. I'm here for you, okay? I won't say waiting, because I'm still working. I know you working on
your heart. It's like, hey,
yes. We're gonna align. We're gonna highlight someone before we got back to Wayne's question. I know it's coming back up here. Okay, he says, I think I need to go find the answers. Now, this one, I love this, because I feel like there's a balance that comes with this. Yes, sometimes you need to go find them. And then there's some times where you need to sit and relax and let it come to you. And the best way to go about this is, one, always follow your intuition no matter what, as long as you're not following it out of fear. And when you feel like it's a fear-based moment that you're having, saying, for example, I really want clarity on this, but I have so much fear about the answer that I'm going to get. That's where you got to be able to say, okay, I'm going to allow this to come to me. Because if I go find the answer and I'm in a state of fear, what I'm going to go find is something that's going to validate that fear. And it's going to make it totally not even be that for you. I've done this so many times in my life. So I've learned to ask for the reveal when I really feel grounded and knowing I'm ready for it. And if I have fear about it, really asking whoever it is you believe in, God, source, universe, I say, hey, God, I have a lot of fear about this right now. So first, help me get through the fear part of it, because I might be creating an illusion or a problem that's not even ultimately there for me, right? And so, sorry, guys, didn't want to get sidetracked there. But yes, sometimes you're going to have that balance. So just figure out in that moment for you, if you want the answer to this and you feel like you have some fear, take a pause, take a minute. And if it's something that you don't necessarily have a fear, but you just really want to get to it. What's the point here? What's the problem here? Whatever it may be, then yes, go seek. And when you go seek for answers, it's always important to go talk to people who have been where you've been and they found the success in whatever that is. And this is really big because sometimes bad advice, a lot of us have adopted a lot of bad advice. Sometimes bad advice is what messes up your life because you got it from a person that, even though they maybe have loved you or they weren't trying to do it out of harming you, it didn't mean that they were the right person for that type of advice. And so what I like to say is, if you are going through a divorce and you and your partner both want to work on your marriage and you want to keep it together, but you guys are just having some issues, go talk to somebody who has been in that same position before, but they end up staying together and they figured it out, right? Because they have the same kind of problem you did, but they worked on it and they're actually in that state of success because they're still together. That doesn't mean go talk to a person who never, they went through it and they're still bitter about it or they're still angry about it. And because the advice that they're going to give you is probably from that state of frequency. So if you want a successful business, go talk to successful business owners, because that they've had failures. They wouldn't have been successful without any failure, right? So that's how I go seek my answers. If I really need to talk to someone, I go to seek the people who are where I want to be or in the highest state that I'm working to get to. And I also pray about it too, right? I go to God, I go to source, I go to my angels, and that's how I like to bring that answer for me.
And he said, okay, I get it. Thank you. Right on point. And individuals who have gotten a little farther than you. I agree, sis. I agree. Yes. All right. What advice do you have for women looking to cultivate confidence and create wealth for themselves?
Oh, this is a beautiful question. Confidence is always going to come from you doing the inner work. The more inner work you do, the more confidence you're going to have. And don't get me wrong, everyone has a different view on confidence. Sometimes people think the clothes they wear or the house they have or those types of things are the confidence. And not all the time, because you have all those things, you can be confident. I've met a lot of flashy, unconfident people, right? And they thought that was what was going to help them have it, and it didn't, right? There were still inside that were showing and radiating.
That part.
My best advice is to find out, get to know you, get to know who you are, learn how to validate yourself, learn how to love everything about you, the good and the bad, really cultivate the most healthiest, most beautiful, most loving relationship with yourself, because that confidence is going to radiate to everyone else around you, and they're going to feel that whether you got the next Gucci bag or you don't. It doesn't matter. Those are not going to be the things that make you so confident. And in you building your wealth and you building that wealth for those types of things, the character and the struggle and all the things that you go through, that's where the real character is built, right? And so at that time in your life, pay attention to how you respond to things. Do you respond to things from, a healed, aware space, or do you respond to things from a triggered, unhealed place, right? And now you're trying to get other people and outside sources to validate you, to give you confidence. And that's not what's ever going to do it, right? So I like to say that my confidence ultimately comes from me taking time to get to know myself on a deeper personal level, know what my triggers are, know what triggers me, know what I do that triggers other people, understand what has been holding me up in my confidence, what are things that I don't like about myself that I need to learn how to like about myself, or, I just went that deep within self. And so when you get into business, you do have to have a confidence within you, because people are buying your confidence at that time, right? The confidence into the creation you've made, whether you're a speaker, whether you design, whether you do this, whatever it may be, they can feel it. It's an energy base. So my greatest advice would be, take time to get to know yourself, learn how to validate yourself, know how to know that you are worthy, and love yourself. And when you grow that relationship and that frequency, everyone else around you is going to feel it, and they're going to say, man, that person has confidence, and that person has confidence that I love, that I'm inspired by. And, sometimes you might have people that hate on it. That's okay. You're going to get a mixture of both. But as long as you know how to validate yourself, that is going to be the biggest game changer in your business, in the way that you start to get wealth to come to you, because wealth also is your inner energy. It's also the relationships that you have with people. It's not necessarily always the house or the car or this. I like to say, in my time when I didn't have the house and the car and all those different things, I was always wealthy in my spirit. Right? My spirit couldn't be broken. If I was being bullied at work or being bullied by people, I still showed up with kindness and grace, because I validated myself. I knew that they weren't validating me. So that's my advice for anyone out there, really trying to figure out how they can create more of that self-confidence.
I love that. I love that. And Shanier Clayton said, God, self, family, finances, everything else. That's a nice order too, sis. That's a nice order. Listen, self-care is the best care. We cannot, love on another person. The way that we treat ourselves is a reflection of how we would treat others, love others as you love yourself, is what I truly live by. And if you can tell by how a person really cares for themselves in regards to how they're going to treat you.
Yep.
So be mindful of your audience, people. Be mindful of the people who surround you. And not all company is good company. Sometimes you have to teach people from afar. You cannot be God to everyone. We can't have everyone in our circumference. Sometimes your space is only limited to a few. My mom always says, if you're going to have some close friends, the closest, have at least a handful, Let's gain the whole world and lose your soul, honey. You don't want to be around everyone else. Some people need to be taught from the internet and not in your space.
Yep. So true.
We're going to be taking some calls at 7:50. If you're in the PST area, and 4:50 at the PST area. So get y'all questions together. Someone gave me some good advice, saying maybe you should start letting people call in. Things like,
I love that.
A bit more personal. So here we go. This is going to be our first night using the feature. So I had to put y'all on do not disturb until that time, because people will be calling in like, hold on, let me get my call in right now, honey. I don't need right now. Let's get on with the questions. Oh my goodness. Can you share a specific, oh my goodness, my lisp. Can you share a specific strategy or insight that has been instrumental in your success?
Definitely. I will start with having a good wake up routine. I'm not going to say morning routine, because you know what? I'll be honest, you guys, you'll hear a lot of people out there say, you got to wake up at 5 a.m. or you're not going to have success and all these things. And sometimes I've woke up at 2 p.m. noon and I've still found very, very great success. And I learned this from one of my mentors. She said, whenever you have the energy the most, that's when you use it, because your body will always let you know when it needs rest, right? It'll let you know when it needs to completely be done with something, right? Like, you always know. And so when it comes to success and whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you got to know when to take the breaks and give yourself time, but not to quit. Right. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's something that you really, really want. And so pay attention to your routine, pay attention to your energy. And so for me, I seem to have a lot of creative energy at night. So what I found is at night is the best time for me to create my content for my business. Mm-hmm. I'll turn on my gospel music, or even if it's not gospel music, I like to turn on things that are really positive, things that are very uplifting for my vibration, even if it's sound frequencies, because I know that everything is in tune with what you're creating. And I noticed that seems to give me even more of a power boost. So what I'm doing is I'm creating with my highest energy frequency at that time. And I know when I put it out, people are going to receive that energy, because that's what it was created with, right? I've learned this from my mentor, even with they say how babies are created, right? You'll know when babies are created in love. You'll know when they probably weren't because of how they respond or how they act with certain things, right? I'm kind of going a little bit deeper there, but
Go ahead.
I learned that having a healthy routine with myself, with how I do stuff. And so another thing is, whenever you do wake up, I always tell people, make sure you do sleep with do not disturb if you can, or just have your phone on the other side of the room, because how many people have checked their phone the first time they woke up in the morning, and whatever happened, you take on that emotion, that frequency, or whatever is going on the other side of that screen, but you haven't checked in with yourself first. So I feel like I'm very grounded throughout my day, more than most people maybe are, because when I first wake up, I like to ask myself what I need for the day, how I feel for the day. I fill my cup up, right? I have the breakfast I know I need to have. I talk to God the time that I need to talk to God. I do the things that I need to do to fill my cup up first. So that way, when I go throughout my day and things do come at me, I'm not coming from a space of thinking that it was like a target towards me, because I already grounded myself. I already affirmed myself. I've already done the things that I needed to do. And so when people are coming to me, I have a lot more grounding in my energy, should I say. And so a great example of this is I work with a lot of moms, and I noticed that I had a lot of moms that were like, man, I just feel like I never have anything for me. I never have time in my day. I'm always on the go. And they're like, they're not happy. Right. And I go, what did you do for yourself first? I got the kids together, and I got my husband together, and I got this. And then the day went on, and I went to work, and I said, yeah, that's because everybody got poured into but you. Right. And sometimes you might have to wake up an hour earlier to pour into you, or go to sleep an hour later to pour into you. But just make sure you're taking that time to really pour some energy and some frequency onto you before you try to do it for everyone else. And you just said this. So I feel like the instrumental to my success has been learning how to fill my cup up first, learning how to take care of me first, and learning how to use my energy in the right way. So when I'm tired, I take the rest, right? And when I have my full energy, then I create, instead of me trying to push through with it. And I know I'm not in that space because it doesn't come out right.
And that's funny that you said that, piggybacking off of what you said. I just had a conversation with my cousin, Shanier. She's tuned in tonight. And she said it's been cutoff season, and cutting them off. It's time, honey. To clear space, to purge some things out your life, honey. And we were just talking about this, and I was at the gym and I was working out prior to this show, and I was just telling her, I said, no disrespect to anyone, but I never really respected the parents who poured so much into their children they didn't pour into themselves. You are the first reflection. I want us to shine together. When me and my son is together, we out matching or whatever. I don't want to look like I depleted myself. Like, I am a reflection of my son. My son is a reflection of me. We have to shine together. And I work hard, and I make sure that he's taken care of. But I'm gonna make sure that I'm taken care of too. Because I remember once upon a time, there was a time when he was born, and it was times where I just was pouring more into him, and I see how it affected me. And I was like, I don't want this for myself, to the point where I made sure he ate and I didn't eat, or he washed up and I didn't wash up. And it's like, might be embarrassing for me to say, but it's a lot of women going through this. And I've had conversations with women recently, but this is a real thing. And it's important for us to pour into ourselves, and for our children to see that. When I have my bubble bath time, my son's like, Mommy, when are you getting out of there? I said, when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because when he gets older, I want him to reflect that to his children. He has his time for him, and he has his time for them. Codependency for my children, for my partners, from anyone, is not healthy. So make sure, even when you're getting into a relationship, I want to say this to the ladies, even to the men or what have you, make sure you stay on your routine. Sometimes we get into these relationships, become lazy love, and stop doing the things that our hearts desire. We stop moving in the direction in which our path is set for us. And then we're getting upset when it's like, oh my goodness, I'm falling back. I'm falling behind. Codependency. We're starting to dislike each other, start hating each other and things like that. Oh, we got Lorraine chiming in. Thank you. We got Wayne saying, yes. Wayne said, wow, that's deep. Make time for you, for us. Deep. Yes. Make time Everybody has time. Micromanagement is a thing. When I went to college, they taught us about micromanagement. And what I have learned to do was make sure that I put that time into myself. And like you said, sis, there are times where I wake up in the middle of the night and I used to lay there. I get up now. I get up
Mhm.
now because in that moment, it's a reason why I got up and I have all this energy now. Get something done. Get it
Yep.
done. Just lay
Yep.
there. Don't
Yep.
jump on your phone. Don't just
I
jump.
love that's when you have the time, like you said. That's where the time is. You're up. Use
Yeah.
it wisely.
A virtuous woman rise early in the morning. Get what you need to get done, ladies, whether it's late at night, because some people prefer late at night, or get it done early in the morning. Get it out the way so then that way your path can be clear for you for the rest of your day. I'm
Yeah.
learning to, like, even if you have to micromanage, hey, I'm just going to spend a whole Wednesday, my whole Monday, just working on content, like set aside a time or figure out what your time is and learn what that is and put that time towards doing those things. It's enough
Yeah.
time. Don't use it accordingly. Don't get binge watching what's that 50 Cent show. Don't get
Yeah.
caught up watching all these shows or whatever because like what Drake said, he said I'm in the studio making the music that they listen to in the club. So it's like
Yeah.
he's working,
Wow.
he's
Yep. He's
his
very, very, very aware of his time and
yeah,
where
this
it's
is time.
invested.
Like I'm making money off of the things y'all tuning into the club. Like have that mindset. Like let me, these things you can always go back. Well, you can rewind. You can watch the shows over. You're not missing anything.
Yep.
So you leave that for your time. Set aside your time to do that. But don't get so caught up in social media scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
scrolling
And
until
then wonder why you don't have all these issues and problems that aren't solved because you also are the main character of why they're not solved because of the people you allow in your space, the things you do with your time, the way that you respond, and then the lack of care and nurture that you're giving to yourself ultimately. We can complain about how other people don't treat us well, but we allow them to, right? We allow them to keep drinking from the cup and then saying that we're drained. That's fine. So yes, everything was just yes.
oh, Lord. And let me see. Okay. What role has mentorship played in your journey? Now you spoke about your mentor, but what role has mentorship played in your journey as an entrepreneur?
I am so grateful for mentorship and I love it. I feel like every single person in life should have some type of mentor in their life. And I know some people say, my mentor is God and source and all those things. Yes, God is your mentor. Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
You also should have other people in your life that have created something, like I said, that you are working to attain.
Yes.
So if you are desiring to have a healthy, fruitful relationship, you should be taking counsel from people who are in healthy, fruitful relationships, right? If you're seeking to build a multi-million-dollar business, you should be taking counsel from people who built multi-million-dollar businesses successfully. And so mentorship has played such a beautiful role in my life because I didn't grow up with a lot of role models. My family and a lot of my friends know that I love them, but a lot of them I would not take life advice from because I do not want their life. And I've seen how they struggled and I've seen how they didn't achieve what they wanted to do. And I've seen all those things. And so they actually taught me what not to do. And it's not that I'm saying that they're less than or I'm better than or anything like that. What I'm saying is you don't have the results that I want in life. And
Right.
for whatever reason that may have happened, I'm aware enough to know that if I truly love myself, that I
Right.
need to go through some guidance that's more fitting to what I want. And guidance is big because when we're younger and we don't have it right away, that's where a lot of our failures have started. A lot of my failures started from me not having role models in my life and me not having people to give me the right guidance. So when I was old enough to get that guidance for myself and aware enough to know that I needed it, I started to go seek it through listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube channels. I got mentors who've never met me in a day in my life, but that's my mentor because I listened to them and they taught me. And so the thing about a lot of successful people, I was told as a child that people with money or people that were successful were bad. Not all people with money and not all people that are successful are bad people.
Right.
It's who you listen to and who you see that their real life is matching up with what they're preaching. And so what I learned is you can feel when something is being fake and you can feel when something is real. You know it. And so a lot of mentors that I've found and that I've gravitated to, I noticed that they had the same morals, beliefs, and values that I had. And that's why that person spoke to me. That's why I was able to connect with them. But I had to be open with myself, and I had to write down, what are the morals that Mona has for herself? Not the ones that her mom has, not the one that her dad has. What are the ones that she has? What is it that she believes in? And then I went to go find the people who have the same exact ones, right? And so they taught me. And then there were times in my life where there was people that I watched and listened to for years, and something happened and I met that person in person, or somebody knew someone, and I was like, wow, look at that. Because I've been following you all this time, listening to you all this time, and somehow now I'm even meeting you in person. It happens that way. So get yourself a mentor, and understand that a mentor and coach are two different things. See, a coach is someone who, you think of it, the NFL game. They're on you. They're on your butt. Hey, you got to do this. They're yelling at you sometimes uncomfortable. It's a coach. They're not supposed to make you feel comfortable. They're coaching you.
Right.
A mentor is someone who's doing the same exact thing, except for they're a little bit more personalized in your life. They know about your children and your wife and your this and your finances and that. Right. And so they're with you on a little bit more longer of a journey too, but it's very similar. They went through those things, and they're mentoring you and guiding you more on that 101 in a sense, so right. Coaching, you're going to get beat up sometimes. Mentoring, you might get beat up a little bit, but they also are with you on a much deeper aspect with how long the relationship is too. So I found in my life that mentorship is important. And you can find some out there that are free, like I said, on YouTube and things like that. But also I've learned that when you pay attention. So if you can find a great mentor that you can pay, you should, because you are going to pay attention more. And a lot of the times the ones you got to pay for, you're going to get even way more value than you thought. So I invest into that. I spend thousands of dollars every single year on mentors and coaches and people, because they invest into me and they make me better, and they teach me from their failures as well.
I like that. And speaking of mentors, I just want to give a shout out to one of my mentors. She's saying, that's right, baby girl. She's 72 years. Guys, a shout out to Lorraine Mercedes Pahel, who is a very wise woman in my life, who has taught me so much that I could take on with me in my future, and very supportive. Like you said, they know about your life, your finances, things that's going on. They, so she's on top of me all the time. So I just want to give you your flowers, young lady. And thank you for chiming in. Listen, she's on the internet at 72 years old, supporting me.
I love it. That is so beautiful.
Great. I wish I had a picture, because honey, she has more energy than I do. And I'm like sitting here like, come on. She tells me about keeping up with my collagen, keeping up with my just everything in my life, whether it's God, whether it's health, wealth, all things good. And I really appreciate you, lady. And I love you dearly. So thanks for coming in today. So we're going to open up the lines right now. Let me make sure I got that right number down there, because I'll be moving so fast sometimes, people. So let me see. 1369. So feel free to call in right now if you have something that you want to say to our guest today. Feel free to call in. We're going to leave the lines open, but the show must goes on. So if you call in the middle of us talking, it's all good. So make sure y'all chime in. You know what? I'm gonna give it a little break. How about that? So in the middle of this commercial from our sponsors today, Femme de la Soft, we have a commercial about my book called The Rest Experience. Let's take a look at that.
I really appreciate this book, honestly.
You do?
Yeah, because if it wasn't for this book, then I wouldn't have a self-care routine, or I wouldn't be taking days or even a day or an hour just to think about myself or do something for myself. This book honestly has made me look at myself in a different light and acknowledge how day to day I'm unaware of myself, or not paying attention to myself. It's made me sit back and actually take more time with myself to take care of myself. Just the little things, like everyday things, like lotioning yourself, or just listening to some soft, sweet music to calm your energy down, or just want my wandering mind. Like, it's helping me a lot, honestly. Discover the rest experience.
All right, people.
You love it.
Don't get all teary-eyed. But just want to give a shout out to Gabby for giving her testimony. We got more testimonies coming this year. If you haven't purchased the book, it is in the link in the description box below, and or above, wherever you're watching in, tuning in from. But make sure y'all get that Discover Your Rest experience. Get yourself that rest. We talking about self-love, self-care here, people, with our beautiful guest here. Make sure y'all follow her and stay up with her journey, as I will. And listen, and not only that, I'm gonna stay up with her food too, because if you look on her page, you're gonna see that the girl can get down. Okay. So thank y'all for tuning in. We still waiting on them calls, but the show must go on. If you're not gonna call in, it's okay. But we got some more questions to get her through before we let her go, which is gonna hurt my feelings. How do you define success personally and professionally?
I feel like true ultimate success is when you have peace of mind, and you have peace of mind with everything that's happened in your life that you can't change, and you have faith in mind of the things that you can change and what can happen.
Uh-oh. We got
I'm excited.
Got a call. Hold up. We got our first call. Hold up. Stay tuned. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Oops. Hold on. Did I just hang up? Lord, I feel bad. This is my first time using this. Call back again, people. Call back.
Oh, man.
Hold up.
First time, right?
I'm sorry. And it came through. Hold on. Let's see. I'm sorry. It was like press 1. I was like, huh? And let me see.
That's what we learn. See, it's not a problem. We learning.
We are learning. Let me see.
We're just talking about this.
Let me see. I'm gonna call him back.
We're gonna get that question answered, guys. We got you.
Wayne's? Okay, we got a call. We got a call
right now.
State your name. Hi, Mr. Love Jones. Can you hear him, Queen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for chiming in tonight. What do you have to say?
All right, just calling because I was just listening in, and I heard the guest of tonight was giving some valuable information, which is great. I believe the number one thing is supporting to yourself. That's like the biggest takeaway, because oftentimes we neglect ourselves just to serve everybody else, and we tend to always pour from an empty cup, and you can't pour from that. So I think that message right there is very key. But I do have a question I want to ask the guest, Mona, if I'm correct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, he's been listening. Oh!
Oh, yeah. So now, my question is this. What are the defining moments that you went through in your life that the confirmation that the path that you're on, the journey that you're on, was the right one, or was the one that's going to be more fulfilling to you?
I love this. It's a great question, and thank you for tuning in. It's nice to hear your voice. I'm excited to answer this for you. So I feel like knowing that a path is right for you is one, when you get really clear as to what you want for your life, and you're going to start seeing that things are going to align with what you wrote down. So like an example, your dream partner, this person you want to be in a relationship with, have you taken the time to actually write down that list, the qualities that they have, their beliefs, their values? You know, I like to say, have you done this for yourself? So I have a certain life that I desire for myself. I have a certain character that I aspire to become. I have a certain tolerance, mindset, you know, all these things that I want to become, right? My highest version of me, of what I picture that to be. And so I started to realize that I was in the right place when everything around me or people around me were starting to align with that person that I was desiring, that I was working and building to become. So for example, I was really working towards being an entrepreneur and having this business and this brand and all these different things. And I noticed that when I finally quit my job, because my job wasn't really in alignment with that. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't ungrateful for my job because it was helping me get there. But when I finally quit and I went all in on my business, my reality really was starting to become real for me because that's what I was creating, right? That's what I wanted. And so I could see like, okay, I am on the right path because things started working out for that. Not saying it was always easy, but things would work out. And so I feel like you're living in your purpose when you're doing what brings you most passion and joy, even if you're being paid for it or not. Because my first couple of years, I wasn't always making money, but I was so happy. I was so at peace. And it seems like God was still working out things for me to pay my bills and my rent and get things done regardless. But I was working in my purpose, and that's ultimately what he wanted for me. So the solutions would come. But when I was working at my job, it was like things were moving so much slower. Things weren't coming as fast as I needed them to because I wasn't in alignment. It really wasn't where I was supposed to be. So I would say, you're on the right path when you have peace, enjoying what you do, where even if you're not being paid for it just yet, you're still happy. I like to say that happy money has a different frequency, because there was times where I was making a lot of money, but I was not living in my purpose and not doing what I was ultimately supposed to do. And I still felt empty. And then somehow I finally went over to what I was really supposed to do. And I wasn't always making as much, but man, I was so happy. I felt so centered, so grounded. So I definitely would say that write down the highest and best version of you, the attributes, the characteristics, how you dress, all those things, and then start paying attention to the reality you're in. And you'll know if you're on the right path and you're not, because one, you can feel it. You can always feel it when you're on the wrong path. But two, you're going to start to see it, because if you aspire to be this person, then why are you staying around this? Why are you keeping your life? Why are you keeping these kind of addictions in your life? To be really honest with you guys, my highest and best version of me wasn't a person who needed to be codependent on substances. People always ask me all the time, how did you just stop drinking and stop smoking?
Girl, that part.
I knew that wasn't the person in the end didn't do that. And so I had to learn how to not be codependent on that. And now I can sit in a room and maybe everybody might be drinking and I won't. People might be smoking and I won't. I don't even crave that.
I love your life. I love your life, because I made the same decision. It was like a person that can master themselves can master anything. If you can't even master yourself, you won't be able to conquer
really hard
anything. So I was just like, I gave that up myself. Wow. That was like last year sometime. And I was like, you know what? I don't really need it. I'm a goofy, silly, happy person in general. But I'm sorry, Mr. Love Jones, is there anything else that you needed to say?
No, that was it. I got all the information I needed from that one. That was great. I love the answer. I love that you gave a lot for everybody. This is a great, insightful podcast, and and definitely a lot of gems was being dropped. So peace and love. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, bro. Later.
Happy to share that value.
And listen, the lines are open. The lines are open. Feel free to call in. Give a quick question for the queen here before the show ends. But let's see. Let's see. How do you balance work and personal life while pursuing your entrepreneurial endeavors?
Okay. So in the beginning, this was a little bit hard, I'll be honest, because you go for working 8 hours, but then when you build a business, you go to work at 14, 15, 20. You're working all day. You're working way more than what you used to. Mm-hmm. And so that balance for me was a bit hard in the beginning because I was in a state of work, that I didn't create time for play. And what I can say is I wish that I did a lot sooner and earlier, but I had to learn. And I will say that I feel like you will show up your ultimate best when you learn how to give yourself more play and fun and happiness and joy, as well as do the work. And so I feel like you got to have those real conversations with yourself when okay, I need to put in some work because this goal hasn't been met.
Right.
Put in some rest because I do need a little bit of rest for this goal. And then there's times where it's like, I really do need to just kind of let my mind be free right now and just experience life and
Right.
do it when you're younger too. So for me, I really love traveling, and every chance that I get to travel, I go do it because I'm like, I don't want to wait till I'm older. And I worked so many years and now I'm older and I can't even experience traveling from a place of not being tired and wanting to be in the room because I'm tired, right? So I feel like, make time for the people in your life that are supposed to be in it. I will say that. Now, I don't just go party with any and everybody and do this with any and everybody just because. I'm still very intentional. If I'm still going to go out and do those things, it's going to be with the right people that I know that still got their goals intact, got their mindset right, still doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm still staying in that energy and that elevation because this is the highest version of me that I've created, right? So I've learned that make the time for family that you need to make because those times are precious. They are important. Make time for that. Make time for the friends that truly are the friends that reciprocate your energy, that really respect your work, respect you. You do the same for them. Make time for those people. Make time for that circle. Don't just be, just be mindful of who you're spending time with when you do take that time for balance, right? And it has to be a person who respects you and your work and your values and your morals, and they do the same for themselves. Right. And so really just figure out in your schedule as much as you can. Yes. And with grounding yourself, yes. Figure time out in your schedule though, where you can really just say, when I'm not working, and I can be fully present. So for example, if you're spending time with your family and maybe you work on your phone a lot, that might be your hours where you literally put the phone down though. And like there's you're fully present. Or if you're going on that vacation for a week, everyone in your organization knows, everybody knows that this is a week for you to rest and you do what you do and you'll come back to everything when you need to. So you can give yourself the time to be fully present in your own life as well. So that's how I would go about it. Cause I was a work. And I realized like, I should have probably made more time for resting and playing and family because sometimes I had a little bit of resentment towards my work towards the end because I didn't do those things and I was upset and I was burnt out or, all those negative emotions came to the surface because I realized all I did was work. I didn't think for me or other people that I really wanted to because I prioritized it a little bit too much.
And that is so true. Like making that time for yourself and prioritizing that time, like letting people know, like, this is my time. Putting your phone on do not disturb, like you said earlier, when you go to sleep. And it's very important. When you have to rest. When you have to work. Like, but get it done. Like set quotas for yourself when you have to get it done, and then get it done by that time. Like challenge yourself. I have to get it done by this day. This is by this time, by this day. Like
and celebrate yourself in the process. If you don't celebrate yourself in the midst of all that hard work you're doing and everything, you are going to feel so unfulfilled in whatever you'll achieve the goal and still feel like, whatever. No, you gotta celebrate yourself for the small things and the little things as much as you can. I like to, when I get my checklist done in the day, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat my favorite cookie later on. Like I'm gonna celebrate myself. I'm gonna reward myself because I put in some work, so I celebrate yourself very often and affirm that, like really give yourself props,
That part. And shout out to Quadria Marie, my bestie from On the Q production. She said, great advice for workaholics, whether or not an entrepreneur. And she also was saying when we were speaking in regards to not drinking, she said it's better to be high on life. Thank you so much. And then we got Lorraine Mercedes Pahel. I love it. Speak it into existence. And that's one thing, let me tell you, she always told me, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. We try to hold on to these things and we're afraid to make those. Make those leaps and bounds in our lives. It's like you got to act on faith. Like if that idea was placed in your mind, it's actually a seed that needs to be planted. We're so afraid of the unknown and falling. You know what the problem? You know what is so cool about falling? You're still able to get up. Yeah, you're still able to see like what's the if I do fall, if I do get some scrapes, there is some ointment there. There is bandages there. I can dust that dirt off my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I definitely, I'm appreciating this show. I really appreciate you for being on here. We got 2 more questions, but you're not going to be going for long because you're a part of the Whatever You Say podcast family, and you're part of my life now. So
I love
I
you
gotta
guys.
get my thing.
Thank you. Right. I got you.
I'm in Cali, girl. Oh, yeah. And
I got you.
Yes, period. We got Quadria saying we have to not be afraid to use our gifts from God for the world. I mean, they were given to us for a reason.
Yeah.
We're having thoughts for a reason. It's coming from source. We got to allow ourselves to be used and not be afraid and persevere through any challenge that comes our way. And we have Romaine Valentino Lynch, sound like a cologne. Sound like a cologne.
Right.
Beautiful girls and 2 amazing women. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And watch out for Romaine Valentino Lynch, who is coming out with his show called The Safe Space. I'm looking forward to Let's go. Eric says, yes, you are a part of the family. Eric is such a good supporting person in my life. He's my cousin. And he supports anybody that comes along and join the family. And I really appreciate you. I'm gonna give you your flowers too. I know men don't get flowers as much, but I appreciate you, Cuzzo. And may you continue to be who you are. And I thank you very much for always supporting me, watching every show since the day I started. He has not missed one show.
Love it.
One show. So I really appreciate you. Let's go. What motivates you to continue pushing boundaries and defying norms in your industry?
Ooh, I just had this over the past weekend, and this is why I went through that this weekend, because this was the question I need to be prepped for. So I do a lot of work on television. I've worked on shows, I've worked on movies, and I've been doing that for quite some time. And I will say, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in the industry of, not discriminating people, right? We still got some work to do there. And so I came across a situation where the color of my skin, not my talent, not anything but the color of my skin almost didn't give me the opportunity that was rightfully for me, that I rightfully earned through the work that I did, right? And someone was trying to make a decision over that because of my skin tone. And I had to set that boundary, and I had to speak up, not just for myself, but for every other woman of color that comes into this industry or that space. And I remember a few people were kind of encouraging to just be silent and don't say anything. And I thought to myself, well, this has obviously been going on for a long time, way before me, right? And so if I don't use my voice now, if I don't express my emotion now in a graceful and healthy way, I can still be respectful and set my boundary, right? How many more people is this going to happen to? And so with grace, with a lot of understanding of everything and me speaking up for myself, by the end of that filming, I got my role. I got what I was supposed to get. That was so I can't say too much, about it. There's still NDA forms and stuff. You can't give so many things out, but that was just an experience that happened to me not even less than 24 hours ago. This was just yesterday. And I literally cried on my way home because I felt like I could feel for so many generations before me, that this has happened to. And I feel like I could feel the relief of even them, of saying like, thank you, thank you for pressing forward, because I was like, it wasn't about me having the shine or glory. It was about I felt like I stood for all the women that were like me. I felt like I stood for all of them in that moment, in that time, and we deserve to be seen too, right? And so in my life, I have a lot of these challenges very often, sometimes where it does come down to my skin tone or me being a woman or, just certain things. And I have to learn how to set those boundaries with people, because I rather have people respect me than to just like me, just to like me. I rather you respect me. You may not like me, but you respect me. And even with my work this past weekend, he maybe didn't like my skin tone, but at the end of that day, he respected me, and he knew I'm not going to do that again to her. And I hope he doesn't do it again to anybody else, that he learned. And so I feel like with everyone in your life, even if it's family, even if it's friends or anything like that, once you start setting those boundaries, whoever respects them, those are the people that are supposed to be on your journey. And whoever doesn't, that was a learning lesson for them and for you. And you stand on that. And if you go against your own morals and your own values for anything, even if it's money, then, you're saying to God that I don't believe in what you created me to be. Believe that what you created me to be is worthy, is valuable. And I could have very much said, you know what, I'm not going to say anything so I can keep the job and they'll pay me. I said, no, if they send me home, they send me home, because this is not right. It's unjust. And they didn't send me home, and then they got it right. Because I believed in God. I believe that God sent me there for a reason. There was a reason why I was there. Right. And for that alone. So continue to be the person that stands out by defying the norms of your values and your morals and what you know is right. I really encourage you guys to go see that movie, The Beehive, or Mr. B. I just watched it. It's very in tune with what we just went over. And at the end, he says, are you for justice or like you for them? Right. And so what is justice to you? What is right to you? That's what you stand on. And so just keep doing that, and the right people are going to stay in line with you. And you can do it gracefully. Don't mean you got to act the fool. I didn't have to act the fool or nothing like that. I did it with grace, and it got handled.
Such a lady. Yes, I love it. I love it. Just like, how did the hearts pop up on the screen?
I love my heart here. I'm always
you were like on the screen. It was like heart started.
Yeah, they started putting little hearts there.
They started doing that. The crowd started doing that.
I don't know. It just like popped up. Yeah,
just like popping up. Do it again, guys. Do it again. That was so cool.
Whoever's seen hearts, we love those.
Like that. It's like the heart started coming up on your screen. I said, that is so stinking cute. I thought you were doing it. Yes, make it happen again. That was so cute, guys. Whoever did it. I love some hearts. I love the love, and I'm so proud of you. And I'm looking forward. Like, I know it's like, contracts and all the other stuff. So we got to talk about that. But I can't wait. Listen, let me have an invitation to
yes.
I'm so serious. I will take that flight for you, girl. Oh my goodness. I'm excited about this. I'm getting chills. I just needed this today. Okay, so last but not least, we are over our time, but I thank you for extending yourself to us. But I have one more question.
No worries.
Now on your end, it's probably like a little bit after 5. So on our end, it's like after 8. It's nighttime. So last but not least, how do you hope to inspire and empower other women through your story and experiences?
I'll definitely just continue to remain in my truth and share it all, the good and the bad, because I do feel like so many people can be, can think that sharing your story and your truth and what you've been through is bad because we've been taught to protect yourself. But sharing and giving, even if it's just advice and value, you got to know that that's always going to come back to you tenfold in a positive way. And I feel like if I embody and I always act as the person that I would want in my life and what I need in my life, it's not taking from me. Right? It's not taking from you to uplift and share your story and inspire someone and help them, especially if they're willing to learn and want to reciprocate the energy and, and take action on it or be a listener or, pour it back into you, I just hope to continue to be that person that people can say, you know what, she was honest. She told us everything we needed to know. And she also was a person who, whatever she said, she followed herself. Right. She also was a person that practiced what she preached. And so I hope to continue to inspire, as many people as I can to not be afraid to define who they want to be for themselves, create the life that they want for themselves, and to be fearless in doing so. Even though fear is going to happen, it happens, but really just having that faith into who you were created to be and create what you want, and just not try to be living for everybody and their wants of you, but literally just living the life for you and for God. I like to say that honestly, the work that I do every single day is for God first before it's for anybody else. It's for him first, right? And that's who's always going to be at the top of my list. So when God tells me to speak and use my voice, I'm speaking and I'm using my voice. When he tells me to share my resources and help and give, that's what I'm doing. So I just hope to continue, and I won't even say hope, I will continue to show up and be the best version of myself and work on the things in myself that aren't good, right? So that I can be better for you guys, and not be afraid to share the failures with you guys, because we all fail. None of us are perfect, you guys. I have them too. So as long as I can teach people how to not make those, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I would hope that other people would do the same for me.
Oh, that was so beautiful. And listen, make sure you follow this beautiful woman. I have her Instagram. Is that correct at the bottom?
It is. It's my first and last name. So you just put an @ right there. It says Dejanique Castro.
And make sure you follow her. We got some comments coming in saying, on period, I'm done with you, Romaine.
I know. Let me get a video on mine's right here. I didn't even take one when we first started. Gotta get one. I'm so happy that I was able to come on with all of you guys and just share value, and also hear what you guys had to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here. Romaine said the ancestors are grateful for your testimony. Eric says that's the same thing, trying to sell a house, not because house, but because of your skin color, it's hard to do that. Yeah. Eric said also amazing. Dr. Love Jones says we are family. Yes. Let's see what we have here. On a Q said great advice for workaholics, whether or not an entrepreneur. Listen, we got some comments coming in. She even said ciao at the end when you was giving your testimony. We thank you all for tuning in. Just want to thank our guests for coming on the show. Once again, this is not the last time. I want to give you the platform to tell everybody, leave them with some words of advice, one last word of advice, and to tell them where they could find you. And here's the stage for you before we exit the show.
You.
And don't hang up after it ends.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
Like they'll like,
yeah, like out of here and go.
So here's your chance, Queen.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Even if you're catching the replay or you're on here live, I'm very, very happy to share value with you guys and wisdom, and we'll continue to always do that. And really, my greatest advice is just get really clear on who you want to become. And just because you don't have all the things, all the shiny things and the glitz and glam, you don't need that. You really just need you, your grit, your faith. Don't fake it until you make it. Always faith it until you make it. That's always been the biggest thing for me. And even if you feel like you're late or you're behind or you lost out on something, you never did, because whatever is for you is always going to come for you. Even if you felt like it didn't happen in that moment, I'm telling you, you always get something better, especially if your intention is pure. Make sure that your intention is always pure, and you're going to manifest a reality for you that's right every single time. I don't care who tries to get in the way of it. So, follow me, on Instagram. My Instagram is @Dejanique Castro. My Facebook is the same. My Twitter is the same. So you guys can find me on there. I'm always putting out a lot of information and value that you guys can use to help you create more success in your lives, no matter what it is, whether it's business, relationship, family, all of the things. I touch all of those. But I love you guys so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you guys more. I'm just a DM away.
Yay! We just want to thank our guests for being on the show. This was a really good show. I'm super excited about it. It's been in the works for some time now, and we've been like messaging back and forth. And I just knew, like, when I had the opportunity to interview her, it was just gonna be what it turned out to be. Whatever is for you will be for you. Okay. And don't fake it till you make it. There's a lot of good advice that I'm going to take with me and move forward in my life. Moving forward in this journey. And I hope you do the same, my people. Hope you enjoyed the conversation, learned something new, and even had your perspective challenged in some type of way. If you love what you heard today, make sure to tune in every other Wednesday for a brand new episode. And if you are hungry for more, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click on that notification button to be notified of future events, okay? Because we want other like-minded people such as yourself to find us on our platforms. As always, it's your girl, La. Stay blessed, stay curious, and it's whatever you say.